In this video, I'm going to show you how to make an accordion card. An accordion card is one like you see in these pictures here, where there's a piece that folds in and out and kind of weaves through another piece so that it kind of looks like an accordion. I found a great tutorial on Becky's Place, and I am actually going to use this template as my starting point. And I did a Google search for the type of card I wanted to do, which was an accordion card. And I just typed in accordion card template. And I found this template, which is going to be perfect for what I need. So now I'm just going to recreate this same design in Cricut Design Space. The only difference, I'm going to have to make it just a hair smaller because I can only cut 11.5 inches in a continuous run, and they were just cutting a 12 by 12 cardstock piece down to this. So what I'm going to do is first design it exactly as is, and then I'll shrink the whole thing together so I know everything lines up nice. So let's make a piece that's 12 by 5.5. So I'm going to go to my shapes and do a square. I'm going to unlock it to make it 12 by 5.5. Okay, let's see what I need next. Now I'm going to need a piece that's 8.5 by 3.25. So I could just duplicate this and say unlock that 8.5, 3.25. Now let's duplicate that. To be 9 and 3.25. Okay. Now this piece is 4.5 by 5.5. Okay, so now let's put in our score lines. This one has 4 inches and 8 inches in. Actually, let's first do these cutout rectangles. So those look to be, let's say that's a 1-inch border. So I went back to the template to figure out how big one panel was, and I'm just inserting a rectangle, actually a square, make it a rectangle that's the same size as one panel section of this design. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my offset to do a 1-inch inset. 1 inch is a lot now that I look at it. So that's probably only 1/2 inch. Let's try it this way. Minus 0.5. Apply. Okay, I am going to group these together. So now I can say align those to the top and align that to the right. And now I'm going to want to duplicate this because I'm going to want that again in here. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate that. So I want to slice the darker piece of this bigger piece. So what I'm going to do is ungroup this, get rid of the gray, and slice. So that's going to put a hole right through here. So now I made a hole there. So now I can take this one and say arrange it to the front. I'll take this whole piece. Let's select all of that. There we go. And say align those so they're centered perfectly on top of each other. Okay, so now ungroup those two pieces because it really was just holding them together to get my placement. So now I can get rid of the gray one and do this and slice. So now you can see I've completed this piece. Now we can put the score lines in. They're going to be 5.5. So I'm going to go shapes, score line, make it 5.5. And I'm going to need two of them, one here and one here. So I'm just going to duplicate that right away. So now if I take all of these and say align it to the left and line them all, align them all to the top, now they're all stacked right here. And now what I'm going to do is say take them all and put the X position right at 4. That's going to line everything up with this 4 on the grid line. That's going to help me so that when I click on one score line, I can say I know I need it to move over 4 inches. Well, 4 plus 4 is 8. So if I move this exactly 8 to line up with the 8, it's perfectly in line. Okay, same thing with this one. I want to move it 8 inches from where it currently is. So 8 plus 4 is 12. You can see it lined up with the 12. Now I want to attach those score lines. That's going to hold the placement position so that I can grab it over here and move it all around. It stays perfectly positioned. Also, when I am done designing this whole thing, I grab everything and scale it down. It's going to keep it all proportional. So this one has a little tab over here on the side, and that's to help glue everything together. So it's going to be a 1/2 inch in. And you know what? I could have taken that score line. Let's just click on the score line from the layers panel and go duplicate so I can get another one without having to recreate the wheel. And actually this one we'll just change over here. So if we go align to the top and align to the left, and then we're going to put everything at 20. so that we can click on that score line and say make it 24 for the placement, and see how it moved it 4 inches over, which put it a half an inch off that edge. Grab everything, attach. So now we gotta do a similar kind of thing with these score lines. So this is gonna be 3 1/4. Okay, so we need 2 of those. So let's duplicate. Oops. Let me zoom. I do not like that the duplicate now throws your duplicate one way down here and you have to go find it. I know I'm probably never going to get somebody at Cricut to listen to me, but if you do, change it. It's annoying. Okay, so now I want the 2 score lines. I want the 2 score lines and this rectangle. I'm going to say align everything to the left and align everything to the top. So now the first score line goes in 2 3/4 of an inch. So I have to check, was it 3/4? Yeah, 3/4. Okay, and then 5 1/2. So it's at 5. And if it's going over the 5 1/2, that's 10 1/2. Okay. So now let's take all of that and attach. For this piece, we need 1, 2, 3 score lines. So let's make all 3. Number and verifying 2 3/4. Yep. So first one, second one, everything and attach it. Okay, so now I have all the pieces exactly like this template has. So these pieces are going to fold and go through here, which is going to look so cool. And this is going to attach onto the end here. So this is 12 inches. I can't cut 12 inches unless I go with an extra long piece of paper, which I don't have. So I'm with this 12. If I make it 11.5. Now this will cut on 1. That will work. I'm going to go with that. So the next step will be to cut this all out and put it together. If I want to make little insert pieces to decorate these, I totally could do that. But I'm going to just start off with the basics. I used a double-sided cardstock for the main base piece, and I want this pattern to be my outside. So think about that when you are first laying things out. Because now I'm going to take this one with the flap and put some glue on here and kind of put that flap to the inside so it hides it better. I feel like on the outside you might see it. Also with this patterned cardstock I'm using, the patterns kind of blend so then you don't see it as much anyway. But just line that up there, and then if you need to flap it over and fold it shut so you can make sure things are lining up on the outside also. Here's a way to save yourself a headache. So I have little spots where the cardstock tore and ripped. I think it was when I was taking it off the cutting mat. So to kind of blend those away a little bit, I am just using an ink pad, just like you would use for a stamping project. You can also use a marker and just rub it on those different spots and then along the edge of your cardstock, and it gives this kind of distressed inked look. And when you do it around the whole edge, not only does it hide some of those spots, but it just gives it a softer look. So now let's glue the centerpiece. So you can see this piece is already pre-folded and there's the little tab. We're just going to take this edge and line it up on that little tab. I'm just going to grab my glue and run it down that tab line and then place the other side over the top. And then I'll set that aside to let it dry. I decided to decorate the inside of my card with candles, and these little flames are going to look so cute because I have a holographic iron-on vinyl. You heard me right, iron-on vinyl that I'm going to put on the inside of this card. It's just going to shimmer and it's going to be so gorgeous. So when you are using iron-on vinyl on cardstock, you really just have to press it for a short time. You can see I have these little pieces and I'm going to place them in the position where I want them. And then I'm just going to hit them for about 6 or 8 seconds with my heat press. Then let them cool off, and if they are still warm to the touch, you can use a weeding tool to kind of get that carrier sheet started, and then it'll just peel right off. But then what you're left with is this gorgeous holographic iron-on vinyl that has this nice shimmer to it. And see how it's got all the different shades of orange and yellow, and it looks like a flame. I just love this so much. The reason I did the flames first was because now I'm going to place the candles, but I made those out of permanent vinyl. And I would not want to put the permanent vinyl under the heat press because that would melt. So I am weeding all of the candles, which are proving to be a little bit difficult because of the design, but take your time. There's no rush. And I do find when I lay it down and kind of peel the excess away, it does help. But then I can start to place all these candles on the card. And I do have a little trick for that. Glad press and seal. Yes, the stuff that you buy for the kitchen to wrap up your leftovers with. Use Glad press and seal, rub it down, and then when you peel the backing back, see how the candle is now stuck to the press and seal? This way, when I go to position the candle and place it on here, the press and seal is going to peel away and not tear up the cardstock of my card. This is also a great way to use up your scraps of not only your iron-on vinyl, but now your permanent vinyl. Because you can see I cut all these candles out of scraps of permanent vinyl that I then placed onto the inside of my card. So now I've woven the candle piece through the orange piece, and you can see it hangs off the edge, and that's okay. That is the intention. The tutorial I was using said to just put your adhesive double sticky tape right there and then just position that piece about a half an inch in from the edge, and then repeat the same thing on the other side. And now we just have to grab the card from the two ends and kind of accordion it together. I'm going to do this from a more zoomed out angle so you can see it happen. So there's when it's opened up, and then when you push it together, it just folds on top of each other. I did use some adhesive vinyl on the top to decorate a little bit. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below. I love to hear from you.